watch the Pistons play, you'll notice a big difference between the number of free throws they get versus the opponent. The Pistons are a young team. They're learning the NBA game, and I do expect them to be called for just a ton of things. Like we've talked about Jaden Ivey's defense where he's not anticipating, the guys are making a move, and he's reacting. His defense has gone better, but there were a few times tonight where he got called for a foul, and I was like, because you're playing behind. So but my question to you is, do you think the Pistons are getting a fair whistle in these games?
Fair based off of what? Just them not getting the same amount of free throws as their opponents, or just missed calls?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter just posting the numbers, and I wish I would have pulled them up, that teams are, I think the Pistons, like opponents are shooting like almost 32 free throws per game, I guess, or maybe 28 against the Pistons. And I think the Pistons were, averaging less than 20 free throws per game. Like, I mean, it just seems like when you're watching the games, it seems, and I don't think this is true, I just think the Pistons are a young, inexperienced team. But when you're watching the games, it does seem like the Pistons, it just seems like the refs are being a little more unfair to them. That's how some people have been putting it. So I guess that's my question that I'm asking you. Do you think they're getting an unfair whistle?
I think they're getting a whistle for a team that doesn't win a whole lot of games. I want to go back to the Milwaukee Bucks game where I thought that was a winnable game.
Yeah.
You saw Damian Lillard down the stretch get every whistle because he's Damian Lillard and he plays for the Milwaukee Bucks and they're a playoff team. I think in this league, when you want that whistle, you want those foul calls, you got to be a superstar or you have to be winning, just a winning team. And the Pistons don't have either of those right now. And I think they're just getting whistles, the way the refs see it. Now, I'm not saying that the Pistons are getting screwed by the refs. I'm not going to blame the ref for the reason why the Pistons are losing. I think we both agree it's the turnovers and just youth on this team of why they're losing. But I think they're getting just a whistle for a team that's one of the worst teams in the NBA right now. And I don't think that's going to change until they start winning games.
So Cade Cunningham is averaging 4 free throws. We'll just round up 4 free throws per game, and he shoots 88% again, rounding up. I think he's averaging 21 points per game. I think he needs to get that number up to about 6, maybe even 7 free throw attempts per game. And I'm not going to blame the refs. When I watch Cade, and he's set, we were talking about this earlier, he's second in the NBA in drives per game. I think right behind Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Shea leads the league, and Cade's second with like about 18 drives. But when he attacks the basket, it's just he goes up kind of weak. Like he kind of fades away from contact. Like he can be pretty creative around the rim because he's not the most athletic guard. That is, I mean, he's a bigger guard, but you'd like to see him use that size a little more when he's attacking. I think you can chalk up Cade's 4 free throw attempts per game to just him kind of avoiding contact when he goes to the rim, like even when he gets a defender up in the air, he waits for the defender to come down so he can get a clearer shot instead of trying to draw contact and get to the line. He needs to figure out a way to get to the free throw line. He needs to take a page out of Alec Burks' book and figure out how to do that. Because, I mean, if you're second in the NBA at drives to the basket, but you're only taking 4 free throws per game, that's pretty inefficient in my opinion.
Yeah. He should be taking 10 free throws a game if he's getting to the basket that much. But I think a lot of people in the comments do agree with you. Cade is starting to sell. Like I see his hands up in the air yelling at refs all the time. The refs just aren't blowing the whistle. I don't think he gets a fair whistle though. But I'm not going to blame that on why the Pistons are losing games. I know Monty basically said like, hey, like I'm not going to get a $50,000 fine to complain after the game. But he has gotten some technicals this year with the refs. I mean, there have been plenty of questionable calls this year on the defensive end of the floor and the offensive end of the floor. But I think Cade's biggest problem is to your point, he's not really that athletic guard. Like he's not like Jaden Ivey. Like Jaden Ivey, his rookie year, got to the basket a lot because he was just an athletic guard, and that's just kind of his bread and butter is just playing in transition and just getting to the rim. Cade's getting to the rim, but he's not really selling that contact to your point, Alec Burks, to me, he's a free throw merchant. Like, he looks to get to the line. He looks to sell contact. He looks to, flail and flop a little bit. Maybe that's what Cade has to do to just get a damn whistle, man. Like, he's getting hacked. He's getting punched. He's getting poked in the eye, and they still don't call anything, man. You got, like, those Foot Locker refs out there not seeing anything. But I think he will get a whistle as, he plays more games around the NBA and gets respect from officials in the NBA. But, I mean, some of the stuff, it just doesn't get called. I could see why he's frustrated with the refs.
Yeah, there are going to be some missed calls in every game. And I think Monty Williams had said that they send in the film and they go, he does his part by, sending in the film and showing like, hey, this is what we thought where some calls should have been made. I thought I had seen a tweet like that. I just can't chalk it up to always being like, yeah, they're not getting a fair whistle or the refs aren't seeing it. I just don't always think it's that. I do think a lot of it is on Cade Cunningham. And I'm talking about him specifically because he's a 6'6" guard and he should be getting to the line. I think at this point should be getting to the line at least 7 times per game. Yeah. You say 10. I mean, that would be great because he's shooting 88% from the line. You got to take advantage of that, man. But I just think it's him just going to the rim kind of soft. And if you're going to go to the rim soft, you need to find creative ways to get your shot off because he got it blocked. He's gotten it blocked quite a few times at the rim by guys like Bam Adebayo, Giannis, Brook Lopez, just some of the other games. I think even Jared Allen, blocked his shot at the rim too, which, I mean, he is a good defensive player. But, dude, watch Kyrie Irving. Watch how he finishes. That dude's like 6'2", and he can finish over anybody at the rim. But if you're not going to be creative around the basket, get physical, use that size, use your body, and go and attack people at the chest. That's what he needs to do. And to capitalize on that 88% from the line, that would make his life so much easier than shooting it 20 times per game, from the mid-range. So I don't know. I'm just not chalking it up to unfair whistles. I think it's just more of, I think that's a part of it in the team just being so young, but I also think it's a lot on Cade not applying enough rim pressure. But again, on the defensive side, I'm just chalking it up to a team being young as well. Like, I've used Jaden Ivey plenty times for examples, just him playing from behind. Even Asar Thompson, it seems like he's such a great defender, but also at the same time, he uses his hands a lot defensively. Sometimes he keeps them up and you can just say like, okay, dude, he's doing a great job. But other times he's trying to reach in when there's really no chance at him stealing the ball. But that's just a young guy with inexperience and he'll learn from that.
So I'm looking at Cade Cunningham's game logs. He had one game this year where he had 10 free throws. Can you guess that game?
I want to say it's Milwaukee.
It was.
Okay.
He had 3 tonight. Cleveland and Atlanta, he had 0. 2 against Chicago, 4 against Philly. Like, he just doesn't get that whistle, man. And like, you obviously want him to get to the line. Shooting 88% from the free throw line is great. I just wish the refs would just pay attention to it because he gets triple team, he gets double team, he's getting just hacked and they just don't call it shit. But I don't want to focus too much on this because I do think a big reason why the Pistons are losing isn't because of the refs. It's the turnovers, it's missed assignments on defense, it's not being locked in for a full 48 minutes. I think there's a lot of things with why they're losing and why they're on this losing streak, but I think it's fair to talk about Cade not getting a fair whistle.
Well, I think it was a good topic to bring up on the podcast just because I've seen a lot of people talking about it. And it seems like that's the thing most people are so focused on right now. And you're right. It is the turnovers. It is the lack of creativity on offense. It's the miscommunication defensively. Injuries do play a part of it. You don't have Jalen. I mean, Isaiah Stewart is he's a decent rim protector, but he doesn't provide that elite rim protection that we know Duren can provide, just being a much better athlete. We're missing that. It's just there's a lot of things to chalk it up to, but the whistle was a big thing to talk about this week.